Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we have a video that's a bit, maybe it's been in the works for a while, but unfortunately Ian's clubs went missing due to Air Canada. So we just got them back.
Yep.
If you've watched his What's in the Bag video, you saw he's got a new set of irons in the bag this year, the 14 RM forged blade.
Yeah, an iron set that came through the door, Mac. They were sent to us as I guess, a piece that we could do some content on, and a limited edition product, and never really thought much of it, unboxed them, and then they literally blew my socks off with how they looked. I was like, I've never seen an iron I love the lines on, how clean they are, kind of minimal writing or badges or anything on top. Those who know my preferences on the channel know I do prefer something with less offset, thinner sole, and this literally ticked all the boxes for me. And the one sort of difference maker was when I saw the loft specs.
Yeah.
They're very, very strong, which I've always had a preference for, having stronger lofts. So it ticked every box for me.
Yeah, I took a quick look at the specs online, and they were saying the stock 7 iron is at 30 degrees of loft, which is pretty modern, or kind of matches the modern irons, I would say.
It really does. If you look at the specs on like a P790 or something like that, so one of the larger cavity backs, the hollow body cavity backs, that's where they're at now. So these fast framed irons have to bring the loft down in order to keep the control down, because the ball speed's so high.
Right.
But this is an option that most, I guess, blade players, better players, low handicappers don't have, is if you hit the ball too high and you're not all that good at bringing your speed down, you just end up hitting the ball too high.
Yeah.
What I love about these is I can hit more flighted shots with them. I don't have a problem hitting them high, as we'll see once we start getting into the gapping. But yeah, they just are a better blend for me, having slightly stronger lofts.
Yeah, for sure. And I've kind of read online there that they are quite forgiving as well. That's what they said. They've kind of made a blade that can fit a bigger range of players that maybe want, like you said, a thinner top line, thinner sole, something more of a player's club, but still can perform with a little bit of that forgiveness that you see.
Definitely. And to start with, I put 6 to wedge in the bag. Because the 6 is at 20, or stock is at 26 degrees, I put my 4 and 3 iron in the bag at first from my P760s, and over time the 5 irons made it into the bag, and now actually the 4 iron is in the bag, because I feel like we're going to cab it, right? So we've got, we're going to have to flight it down, we're going to have to play these shots in the wind, and I feel like that iron's going to do that better than my P760, and I've ended up putting the whole set in the bag.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of your lofts that you have, I know they come at stock 30.
Yeah.
Have you've made a slight adjustment to yours just to kind of match what you want to see in the flight?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's another thing that we have to talk about with these irons, or any iron with stronger lofts. It's not really about the lofts, right? It's how far they go. It's do they fit the right gaps? And for me, it was all about having the right gap. And so I carry 4 specialty wedges, 62, 57, 52, and 47. That's how I love my wedge setup to be, just from a pitching, bunker play, and kind of touch shots around the green. That's the setup I really like. And then when it comes to the irons, so my 47 degree goes 130 yards. My wedge needs to go 145. My 9 iron needs to go 158. And I need that kind of loft progression. So I actually don't conform to this being a set. Every iron is literally being bent to the distance it needs to go. And, obviously being very fortunate to work on quad every day, I've just literally tuned them to how far I need them to go. I don't, and that's irrelevant to loft.
And I think that's an important thing for people to take in, is don't always look at the loft of an iron. Look at what it's doing in terms of ball flight, distance, carry yardage, instead of kind of getting all bent on what the loft is. Because I know that's the first thing I read, a lot of comments of people saying like, oh, well, it's a very strong lofted club, so it's going far. It's really not that.
It's not about that.
It's not about that at all. It's kind of spin windows, launch windows, and all that.
Totally.
Right?
And that, especially the 4 iron, when we hit it, we'll see actually there probably won't be much of a difference between the 4 iron and 5 iron, maybe 5, 6, 7 yards, something like half a club.
Yeah.
But it's the flight window that's going to come out at. It'll probably drop 25 feet. And I know if the wind flips around, like we're hitting in a vacuum, in a bubble in here, but if that wind switches around and we hit into the wind, that 5 iron's going 20 yards shorter than the 4. Right. So it's a club built for purpose, which is playing in tough conditions. If the ball, is going too high, I'll probably, or if I wanted to go high, I'll probably put the P760 back in the bag.
Yeah, perfect. All right, well, let's get you firing a few here.
Okay.
We'll kind of start with, what do you have in your hands there?
Just going to start with the wedge.
The wedge, okay. So typical wedge yards, you said 145?
Yeah, about 145. I mean, it'll maybe land like 4.2 to 4.5,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Swing there. What would you say, like, in terms of compared to what the irons you were playing before, what was like the biggest thing you noticed with these, or something that's kind of set them apart? I know you're pretty big on them and have said that.
I think design-wise, the thin sole's always been something I've really, really liked. I mean, I can't help but put them down and just love the look of them. I love the soft feel, the workability. The slight weakening of the loft has taken the very minimal amount of offset that's on them off. So it actually looks like there's, you know, literally no offset in the transition between hosel and leading edge. So it's performance, but it's also look as well.
Cool. Really nice. Go in. Very close.
So I think, again, when we talk about the questions or the issues potentially people have with playing a stronger set of irons, well, you know, doesn't that just bring the spin down? Spin is one of the factors, but it's not the factor.
Right.
If we look at peak height at 113 and angle of descent at 52, I mean, that ball's doing nothing. I mean, it's landed at 143, it's bounced and then trickled out. Right. So I don't need them ripping back. I certainly don't need more height or more spin than that, you know, but I also have the ability, if I need to hit it at 75 feet, like, you know, a little Boucher special just to trap it and hit something in with a low draw. Way easier for me to do that than if I'm using a 46 or 47 degree pitch and wedge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like it gives me those lower flighted options as much as I already know I can hit it high.
Yeah, and I find with like less offset, I know for me, if I do want to try to hit lower or like flighted shots, I can get a little pulley with that offset because I'm shutting it.
Really pulley with those.
So I think with less offset, it's a lot harder to have that kind of pulley miss, which is not a bad thing to avoid.
Definitely.
I mean, from what I'm seeing, these are pretty much doing exactly what you said they should be doing. So
yeah, I mean, within a yard or two, they've been kind of spec'd out to do just that.
Perfect. Let's get you going to the 8-iron. Okay, so 8-iron. Your loft on this 35. Generally about 170-ish, maybe around there for carry.
Yeah, high one, like 68 to 70. I know I won't push it on the carry more than 70, so, you know, depending on conditions, I'm right around kind of 68 to 70.
Really good. Yeah, pretty much bang on that number. Is there a certain kind of launch spin land descent angle that you like for the 8-iron that you're trying to hover in?
I always base it, and this is the same if I'm working with players in the bay. I actually always just base it off peak.
Peak height?
Everything will find its own, like the ball speed, launch angle, and spin rate are being the three parameters that make the ball either go up and hit its peak, whatever it is. But like I'm looking for a specific number here. Wedge should be about 5 feet lower than everything else. And we should see this about 117-ish on peak right now. What was wedge in the last one?
This one I believe
probably about
around,
what 110,
just over 100,
111.
I think. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so 109.
109.
Right. So yeah, so everything. So now we should be seeing about 5 feet more than that for kind of in the middle of the bag, and then when we get to 4, we'll probably see it like 100-ish.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, it's just all about apex for me.
Perfect. Is there anything with these irons that you've noticed that maybe is like a miss that sneaks in for you? Anything that you're kind of, any knock on them in terms of performance?
I wouldn't say per se on the club. I have a little heel miss going on right now that I'm working to try and get out. And yeah, I definitely notice less ball speed. you know, my drop off is a little bit more severe.
I guess
But
blades will be blades.
Blades will be blades, yeah.
Yeah.
You take your medicine, and that's exactly what you sign up for. So it's fine. You just have to know that that's what it is, and
Or hit the middle of the face.
put on your big boy pants and go hit the middle of the face. That's exactly right.
Got a couple more good ones here.
Okay.
Yeah, really
So like the last two, like I definitely hit better, and you know it, you can hear it.
Yeah, it sound different. For
Yeah,
sure.
and you know, if I actually go to the table, if we look at those last two, like that's why you play a blade. Like two well-struck shots that are within 0.2 miles an hour of one another, 0.2.
Yeah.
You know, they fly very, very similar distances, 169 and 170. Yeah, that's ideal. I mean,
Yeah.
so if we disable, leave them in, but we can disable those shot 2 and 3, the bad ones. And then you start to see the standard deviations really tighten up, right? So when you hit them good, you get the reward from a blade.
Yeah,
that's,
100%.
That's why you.
Yeah, I
want
think
to
that's
play
why I
them.
love them. I like that feedback on the miss hits.
Yeah, and there's the apex there at 115, right where I want it. So again, like that's kind of what I've built into these. That's how I've tuned them relative to the ball I play, like, you know, Pro V1. So trying to kind of build the loft around me and the ball.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get some 6 irons out. Okay, 6 iron, you said the loft is, I believe you said 27? 27,
Yeah.
perfect.
Well, kind of a loft I've played a bunch of times with irons, like when I had my Strix on ZX7s,
Yeah.
that was 28. So, you know, these are only 1 degree away from that. So, you know, when I look down at the loft, it does look very familiar.
Cool. Yeah, really good there.
So maybe like 90, and right on about in 90, 91.
Yeah, in the air.
Yeah.
Roll out to kind of 195-ish.
That's about exactly how I'd play it.
Okay.
Apex, again, still the key number for me. So making sure we're right around
Maintaining.
that 115.
Yeah, really good.
Fairly
Sounded pretty
similar.
middled again.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. As you said, maintaining that peak height.
Yeah. Talk about peak height. How does someone know if it's a peak height? If I picked up my driver right now, so I would be, if I picked up driver right now, I'd almost guarantee I'd be 112, 113.
Yeah.
Right, so in looking at where my apex is, driver speed, for someone at the speed I swing at, driver speed should match your apex.
Okay.
The average club golfer, your 6-iron speed should match your apex. So if
Gotcha.
you're 82 miles with your 6-iron, the likelihood is most of your good shots will peak at 82 feet.
Perfect. Oh, hung on.
Not bad.
Yeah.
A little bit thin, but not bad.
Yeah, good mess. Okay, so if you did watch Ian's What's in the Bag, he did have a 4-iron from the P760 in the bag. So you said that you've kind of been experimenting with putting the RM forged blade, kind of swapping it in and out, seeing which one does what you want.
Exactly. I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart. I'm just trying to see if it's a better fit for something, again, that might flight down. The 760 works perfectly for me. The club I play at has a bit more tech in there, the speed foam. It has a little bit more mass down low, so it does flight it much higher. So
A little bit more
that is an
versatile,
option.
right?
Yeah, get a bit more fit for the purpose here in Ontario. But I think if I played a little more links golf or in the wind, I probably would lean more on something, you know, that is a bit more kind of CG forward and definitely a little bit easier to flight down.
Cool. All right, let's get you at the 14.
And that's flat.
Yeah, that's pretty low there.
But again, you know, if you're going to hit some tee shots into the wind, or you know, you've got to flight into long par 3, like I want the ability to flight it like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd have a hard time doing that with my 760 for sure.
You'd say, like, if you were against the wind, long par 3 or something, the P760 would just kind of balloon on you a little bit? Or
I just know that my tendency would be to then try and lean in on it, and right now, for whatever reason, I'd heel it more. when I do that. I'm already got a little heel miss in there, and if I try to kind of end up leaning on it, I'll probably get ahead of it and actually heel it slightly more. So, I mean, yeah, it is a Band-Aid for a technical flaw, but that's you know, I'm not fixing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's,
anytime soon.
If you can figure something out that works every time, it's not really a Band-Aid.
Totally.
That was really good there.
Yeah, so they're
definitely coming out lower.
They're roasted,
yeah,
you know, and they're in that kind of flighted window, but hopefully they're consistent in that flighted window. So yeah,
a little drop.
80.
But like you said, this is what you expected with this club. So.
Absolutely, it's kind of how I built it. It's kind of what I wanted it for. It can go a little bit higher if the shape goes the other way. So if we want to kind of flight it up and just cut it back into the hole, that might go up to about 100 feet. But it's not.
Yeah, and there's no reason, if you have a club that is serving the purpose it's supposed to, like this P760 is, then at the end of the day, it's kind of a no-brainer probably to, unless you do have a windy course or something that you need something to flight down, this is probably a good one to keep in the bag for that.
Definitely. Block that a little bit.
I mean,
but
I know you mishit it, but
it?
The flight's completely different.
Totally different. Just left the face a touch open. Hit that one actually decent, but just open.
Yeah, 117.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be similar to like one of the roasted ones that you had with the 14s. You can tell that flight's completely different. It's not
soft, a bit soft.
Yeah, a lot softer, and I mean I could tell just by the eye there that's going to be about that 110 still.
Perfect.
Which is completely different than obviously those first two that you hit with 14, hovering around that kind of call it 85 mark, and then that one same swing sounded like you middled it, and it kind of
pretty good.
20 feet right there. So
yeah,
I think that's serves its purpose there.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll probably take both, and you know, again, depending if it's not that windy, I'll probably most likely still stick with the P760. If it is really blowy and you have to hit some flighted ones, I'd more likely pull out the 4-iron from the 14 set.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, both are doing what you wanted to for what you were trying to do with them.
Different jobs, same club, different jobs.
Exactly. All right, guys, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be interesting to see how long these last in the bag for Ian until something new and better comes out.
Yeah, well, they're so unique, aren't they? I mean, it's not like, there's not a set coming around the corner. My preferences for the style of iron that I want to play would need to change. At the minute, it's kind of a player's look with a stronger loft is what kind of fits the bill. You know, I've tried like we talked about, things like ZX7, 223s really caught my eye. I like them because they are slightly stronger in the loft. But at the minute, you know, I don't see another company making an iron with a stronger loft like this and a head shape like that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a unicorn in the that category for sure. So.
What's probably more likely to happen is my kind of swing and technique evolves a little bit. If I can get it into a slightly stronger handle position, less dynamic loft, that would be the most likely scenario when I would change these out if that happened.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, perfect. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you again soon.